All right. Then we will go ahead and call this meeting to order. We will skip the Pledge of Allegiance because I don't think any of us have flags. I know I don't in this conference room where I'm sitting. We do not have a consent agenda. The only real item for discussion is April vacation on the calendar. Before we get started, I would like to remind all participants that this is the Littleton School Committee's first foray into using Zoom, so please bear with us as we go up the learning curve. What I would like to suggest is that I'm going to give a summary of the issue regarding April vacation. I would like to then open it for a discussion amongst the school committee members and any administration members that would like to comment. We will then open it to any public comment, and then once we've finished with public comment, we will entertain any potential motions and voting. That sound all right?
Yes.
All right. So in terms of the April vacation on the calendar, the administration and the school committee started hearing from some parents regarding the whether or not we should continue to have April vacation given the circumstances that we're all going through. This was an issue that is being discussed basically among the vast majority, if not all, of the districts across the Commonwealth. Unfortunately, or well, maybe fortunately, I don't know, maybe neutrally, this is being left to be decided at the local level. There is zero guidance coming from DESE relative to April vacation or a whole lot of other things, but that's another topic. So each district is deciding on their own. Looking at the Mass Association for School Committees listserv that we're all on, it seems like the majority are deciding to cancel April vacation, although definitely not all districts. There are some districts that are leaving it on the calendar. One thing to keep in mind is that before we could actually make a decision on this was something that needed to be negotiated with the Littleton Educators Association because it is a change to working conditions. So Kelly Clenchey and I had a meeting with the LEA Executive Committee last week to discuss this topic and see what their thoughts were. They felt they needed to talk about it amongst themselves and amongst the membership. So they took the weekend to do that. We appreciate the quick turnaround. They got back to us on Sunday, right, Kelly?
Yes.
And let us know that they were in favor of canceling April vacation, taking it off the calendar. In our discussion with the executive committee, when the school committee was talking to them about it, the way we kind of brought it forward to them was that we felt strongly that if we knew, the school committee and administration, that we were going to get back into the buildings at any point this year, that it would actually behoove us to leave the April vacation days on the calendar. Because that would give us the highest probability of getting back in the buildings and give us the most amount of days that we would be able to be back in the building. But we also feel that the odds of us getting back into the building are not all that high. They're not zero, but it's definitely not 100% or anywhere close to that. And we felt that if we don't get back into the buildings, that it would be better to take April vacation off the calendar and allow us, the families, the students, the staff, to finish the school year, albeit via distance learning, as soon as possible. We also felt that we'd only been doing our latest phase of distance learning, really the most extensive phase of it, for a few days, and really this is the second week, and we did not really see a significant benefit in only doing it for 2 weeks and then stopping and then starting again after April vacation. If we do cancel it, take it off the calendar, it would allow us to gain 4 days rather than 5, because the Monday next week is actually a state holiday. It's Patriots Day. We cannot uniformly choose to remove that and not have the staff and the students required to come to quote-unquote school that day. So just keep that in mind. We're really talking about 4 days, not 5. when we talk about removing April vacation from the calendar or keeping it. At this point, I would like, Kelly, if you could just give us a rundown of the current status of the calendar and what the impact would be if we decide not to have April vacation.
Sure.
I'm speaking specifically in terms of what our current projected last day of school is and what it would be if we decided to remove the April vacation from the calendar.
Okay. So per Department of Education's memo, if we use the 4 days during Easter break, the scheduled last, or if we didn't use the days scheduled for Easter break, the last day of school would be June 25th, with the exception of Shaker Lane and Russell Street having another half day. So they would have a half day on June 26th. And if we use the 4 days during Easter break, we would back that up by 4 days. So the high school's last day would be Friday, June 19th, and middle school. Russell Street and Shaker Lane would have a half day on Monday, June 22nd.
And the reason that that's staggered is due to the snow day we had when there were student conferences, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. And it's definitely the high school only would get out on the 21st, middle school?
High school and middle school.
Right, high school and middle school would get out on the 21st, and Shaker Lane and Russell Street are required to have that extra half a day because they missed some instruction due to the parent conferences on that day.
It would be Friday, Mike. June
okay, Friday and Monday, sorry. Yeah,
Monday,
21st and, yeah, okay, sorry. 25th, 28th, okay.
Hey, Mike?
Yep.
Just for clarification for the people at home, Patriots Day is a state holiday. It's actually in the law that we have to have the schools closed that day.
Correct.
Right.
So it's not we don't even have it available as a local decision.
Right. Correct. All right. Kelly, is there anything else you'd like to bring forward before we open this up for school committee discussion?
Just that we've been monitoring the situation with staff and our leadership team and families as they've given us advice. And the introduction of our phase 4 remote learning certainly brought some structure, more structure that parents were looking for. And from what I can ascertain from the emails I've received and the people I've talked to, they feel very comfortable with our remote learning plan, and it's alleviated some stress, and they're quite comfortable moving forward with the April vacation as remote learning days.
All right, thank you. At this point, I will open up to input, questions, comments from the other school committee members.
I'd just like to say I too have heard from people that people are not going away for vacation because of the stay-at-home request from the state. Two, and then with the getting the students back into a regular rhythm for classes is very important to them, and they prefer not to have a gap after just getting started back up with the regular remote learning that we started.
I would concur that everyone that I've spoken to is in favor of just plowing through next week, getting it done. I feel like we're just finally getting some momentum, and at this point, it would probably not be in the best interest to stop, take a week off, and then try and get things going again.
Yeah, the one thing I was thinking is if there's a chance we are back in school, you know, if there's a week we're in school or 2 weeks, how much time, you know, would be even worth it? If we're not even looking at getting into the building before June 1st, I don't think there's a reason to, you know, keep up with the current schedule. I think it makes sense to plow through.
That's a good point you're raising, Jen. It's kind of an ancillary point. and it's something that as a school committee we have not discussed, and we may or may not have to discuss it. It's really going to depend on a lot of things that are out of our direct control, but we're going to be reacting to it. There is something to be said where even if we could get back in the buildings before the projected end of the year, whether it was the 25th, 28th, or 21st, 24th, if we're only going to be back for, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, there's going to be a cutoff where the administration and the school committee is going to make a determination that it's really not beneficial to come back at all. 4, 6, 5, 6 weeks, that's one thing. 1, 2, 3 weeks may be a totally different look. And I just want people that are tuning in and to realize that this is not the discussion that we're having tonight, but it will be it could be a discussion that we will have in the next couple of weeks as we get towards the what might be the end of what we're all going through. The initial date for a consideration of that is now like May 1st or so. It may go beyond that. It may not. It may go a week or two beyond that, or may go further beyond that. So we'll all have to stay tuned on that. But the point you're raising is valid and will definitely engender another discussion, or could engender another discussion relative to the calendar in general. Are there any other comments from the school committee before I open it up to public comment?
The one other thing I was thinking, and it was similar to what Matt said, the kids are really getting started with their learning now, and I think the more we do, more momentum we have, and the more time we spend up front right now, I think the more we'll get out of this remote learning.
All right. At this point, I will open it up for public input. I would ask that, again, you please bear with us as we try to work through the technology. If you do want to make a comment, I think you need to click on the raise hand icon. And if you do get on the microphone with us, please start by telling us your name and street for the record. And then we'd be happy to hear from you. We'll hear from one person at a time and then give the school committee and or administration time to respond to each speaker, and then we'll go to the next one. Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to make a comment or ask a question?
I don't see any yet. No. Perhaps if they can't see how to raise their hand, they could do a chat and let us know. But I don't think so.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know how to raise my hand. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I live on Grey Farm Road. One of my kids go to Russell Street and one goes to Shaker Lane. So the outcome of the meeting is, if we were to cancel the April vacation, I would like to understand the end dates of the schools.
So if we go ahead and cancel the April vacation, Russell Street and Shaker Lane would have a half a day of remote learning. Well, right now it's going to be remote learning. We'll see what the rest of the calendar brings. But the last possible day there could be any instruction for Russell Street and Shaker Lane students, if we remove April vacation, would be June 24th.
Okay, so that is no different than our current end date.
No, because if our current end date right now, based on our previous snow days and other days of absence and having April vacation, right now for Shaker Lane and Russell Street would be June 28th.
Okay. No, I thought it is June 7th. Of course, you know better than me, but I remember it as June 17th, and then adding the snow days, it is June 24th. Now, okay, maybe I need to look at the calendar better. Yeah.
All right. Kelly, do you have any comment on that?
I could certainly clarify that. If we did not use any snow days, the high school and middle school's last day would be Thursday, June 18th. but we have used snow days. We are required to use the 185 days listed in the calendar. So that would bring our last day of school for the middle school and high school to June 25th. Shaker Lane and Russell Street would have a half day on June 26th. If we used the April vacation and subtracted 4 days, the high school and middle school would be out. Their last day is Friday, June 19th. Shaker Lane and Russell Street would have a half day on June 22nd.
Okay. That's what I thought. That's what I calculated. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other input from public members?
I don't see a raising hand.
Okay. I don't see a raising hand. If you could send a chat.
Sure. Can I just speak?
Yep,
Oh, now you can, but yep. I'm asking everyone if they could.
My name's Carrie Lavoie. I live on Stony Stream Lane. I have 2 students in Shaker Lane, one in kindergarten, one in first grade. I feel like I'm finally getting going with the learning, and I really don't want to stop. In fact, regardless of what the school decides, we will be sitting down at my dining room table and learning, because we have finally gotten into a routine. And with little kids, especially the Shaker Lane age, it's not easy to start and stop and then start again. So please keep that in mind, especially for the elementary school students, that we are just getting into a routine, and it really is in the best interest of the kids to keep the routine. And I think that can be said pretty much for all the students across the school system. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I know.
Oh, I was going to comment. If you want to raise your hand, if you press the chat button, it might pop up on the right side of the screen for you to raise your hand as well.
All right, Kamaswari, did you have another comment?
Yeah, I understand that this is not the topic of discussion for today's call, but we would like to know, is there any decision made for MCAS for kids who are for 3rd grades onwards? We
Kelly,
haven't received any notification.
Yep. Kelly, do you want to speak to that?
A decision was recently made. It will be going out tomorrow in a letter that I sent home to families, along with the decision tonight. The grade 3 to 10 MCAS exam for exams, more correctly, for spring 2020 have been canceled.
Okay. Thank you so much.
That was a decision made at the state level by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other public input?
Mike, I had a question regarding the seniors. How does this affect their schedule going forward? As far as, are they ending sooner with the with no April vacation, or what would be their last day?
Kelly, your comments on that?
Yeah. I've started a conversation with Principal Harrington. He has not given me a recommendation at this point in time, so I'm going to be asking for his recommendation as soon as possible.
Yeah. I mean, I'd also like to comment that all of our students are on the forefronts of our administrators and school committee members' minds, but the seniors a little bit more so, just because obviously there's no going back for them. There's no recourse. There's no catching up. There's no replacing these days that they're missing and the experiences that they're missing. And graduation will be another topic that a lot of things I know that people would love to have answers on. We would love to be able to give answers on. But I think we all need to keep in mind that we're really waiting to get to that May 1st date and kind of see where we're all going in so many different ways and so many different considerations in our lives. But we kind of get towards there, we'll be able to make more, hopefully be able to make more firm determinations on what we can and can't do and when we can do it, if we can do it. So I would ask, the public, I think, has been great in terms of patience. The people that I've talked to, friends of mine,
Meeting to decide.
terrifically patient and wonderful about that. And I would just ask that they keep in mind that, and they are, obviously, that the administration is working. We're going to do everything we can to mitigate the impact of what we're going through on all of our students and the seniors especially. But it's going to take us time and circumstance to see what we can do. All right. Kim Johnson, did you have a comment or input? No?
I did not.
Okay.
I had one more comment.
Yep.
It's Carrie Lavoie on Stony Stream Lane again. I know that this isn't the topic of this discussion, but it kind of cues off what you just said. I disagree that there is a stop date of when it is no longer prevalent for our children to get back in the building. I think it's very prevalent for our children to have a proper goodbye with their classmates, and some of them will never go back in these schools again. And I think that has a very big mental health component for these children in a closure, even if they can only go back for a week or two. I understand that means the janitor staff needs to go back in and clean. I understand the logistics, but I'm asking, there are bigger pieces here than just having to clean the schools again. And so, honestly, you're going to have to let people into the buildings anyways, because our students left things behind.
I appreciate your comment. I'd just like to add a little context to the comment I made that you're referring to. If we knew as the elected boards and officials and as a school committee or the Board of Selectmen, Board of Health, that our risk had gone down to zero, we would definitely contemplate all kinds of things that we would try to do to, again, mitigate the impact. And it may be as simple as you just said, of just having a day or two where people can come in and just, reconnect as we transition into our summer. I think the thing that we all are really struggling with is that it's looking less and less likely that 0% risk is going to be a reality anytime in the time frame that we're talking about. The risk factor may go way down from where it is today, but the idea that it's going to go to 0 is very fleeting.
And I can totally appreciate that, both as, a parent. Obviously, I don't ever want to put my children into a position where they're not safe, nor do I love my children very much, but they are very effective germ carriers. But at the same time, if everybody says that we can go back to work and we can return to school, I don't want the school department to be making a decision that my children can't say goodbye to their teachers in person because they don't want janitorial staff to have to clean again.
That would be the consideration.
And I'm not prepared to talk about this tonight.
Yeah, we'll have more opportunity for meeting and public input on that. Let's leave it at that.
And I did have one more comment, that for a meeting that's this important, it doesn't seem that it was very well advertised, and I understand we're totally out of our norm. But I really think that a meeting like this should have been robocalled. It should have been pushed a lot more effectively. I personally wouldn't have even known about it if I didn't see Jen Wilson's Facebook page, and that bothers me.
Appreciate that. We didn't take the decision lightly to have this meeting on short notice, but we felt that the time frame that we're dealing with in the subject matter and letting the community know what our decision was overrode those issues. It was something we definitely discussed and contemplated before we decided to do this on such short notice, and it's not anything we would try to do with any regularity. We appreciate the comment you're making, the point you're making. It's one that we hold very clear to ourselves as a committee and have for the 14 years that I've been involved. Frankly, this is the first time that we have not met the 48-hour meeting notice requirement in 14 years.
No, and I certainly do appreciate that, Mr. Fontanella. I'm just saying that with snow days, you guys can push robocalls out in an hour. So there were other ways to get in touch with us, and I understand the time constraints, but this was a very big meeting, and we should have been thinking a little bit outside the box. That's all. I appreciate all your hard work. You guys are an amazing school committee. Dr. Clenchy is amazing. All the staff is amazing. We're very lucky to live in this district. But I did want to say that, and I think that it needs to be taken seriously, that there were other ways to get this meeting out other than, you know, short notice or not. The goal of any committee is to be honest and upfront and follow open meeting.
Thank you.
Are you ready for a motion?
I believe we are.
I make a motion that we cancel April vacation, and I don't have the 4 days, the Tuesday through Friday, and use those as regular school days.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask that we take this as a roll call vote just so we're clear. So go ahead, Jen.
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Daryl?
Aye.
I say aye as well. All right, that is all the only agenda item we had posted. Is there any other business that we feel we need to address?
No, I'm good.
All right. I appreciate everyone getting together on short notice. I appreciate the flexibility of the LEA getting with us and turning it around as quickly as they did. Obviously, we also appreciate all the work that they've been doing while they've been facing the same day-to-day challenges we all face. There will be more time to talk in depth about that and thank them for their efforts. But I just wanted to give them our appreciation for dealing with this particular topic as quickly as they did. All right, and with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, we're both on mute. Second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Jen?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Daryl?
Aye.
I say aye as well. Thank you, Dorothy, for supporting this effort technologically. And we will, if we meet again, we'll make sure we get the notice out there. And I'm sure we will meet again before too long. So thank you, everyone. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.